Welcome. I'm Kathy with Your Perfect Cat, and today I'm going to talk to you about training your cat at any age. And just so you can see in the background, normally I don't think you see this in the background, but that is this one over here is a cat toy called a flingamajig or thingamafling, something like that. Anyway, I want to talk to you about, cat training, particularly any cat of any age, and why I say that you can train your cat at any age. So training a cat isn't quite like training a dog. If you're someone who's had dogs and trained a dog, you start when they're really young, as a puppy. It makes it a lot easier before they get too big, especially if you have a large dog, or even an older dog can be a little bit more stubborn about training. But I know that some people out there who have adopted adult dogs have managed to train their dog and know that it takes probably a little bit more work than it does with a puppy. And generally I think we mostly think that it's a lot easier to train a puppy, and so it must be easier to train a cat as a kitten. And that's not necessarily the case. Kittens don't necessarily have the attention span required for training. You can get them to do something for a few seconds and then they're off doing something else because they've seen something, or they're distracted by a toy, or they're tired. Little kittens do sleep a lot more than an adult cat. So, however, with a kitten, if you notice the kitten's behavior, maybe it's let's say that it's gone after a toy and it's kind of brought it back to you, you can encourage that kind of thing and train your cat that way. And that's one thing that's a little bit different with a kitten versus an adult cat. Okay, so as far as training a kitten, one of the first things you want, whether you get a kitten or even an older cat, is to get your cat to respond to its name. And the one thing to do is to use that name a lot and not use other names. So your cat will come to whatever you call it most frequently. And so if you want it to come to its name, use its name and not any other words or other things you might call your cat because it's in trouble or doing things you don't want it to do. So for any age cat, when it does do those kinds of things that you want, praise your cat and make a big deal out of it. Get excited. Pet your cat for what it does correctly. If you're training your cat with treats, you found a treat that your cat really likes, then give it a treat as well. Now, I have two youngish cats. One's 1 and one's 3. And the cats that I had before were various ages when I got them. So I had a black cat and another Cheeto, and they were several years apart. And back then, it didn't occur to me at the time to train Spencer as a kitten. And he was kind of a unique cat because he just did certain things. So there were things like he just started fetching. And then I was like, oh, well, that's exciting, and had him do it again and again until it's something that he did a lot. And he also liked to go in the car, and then ultimately he liked to go to the store, and when the doorbell would ring, he'd be there at the door, sometimes growling. So he was kind of a protective cat as well. But he liked people, and he was very curious. And so with him, that's something I saw as when he became an adult. And so training him was actually really easy to do those things that he was already inclined to do. And this isn't every cat, because my new cats, Finn and Val, are not like that at all. And so instead with them, I wanted my new cats, after both Baz and Spencer died, that to be kind of like them. Both of them were very outgoing. They would do crazy things. They were, loads of fun. And I wanted these new cats to be, I actually wanted them to be the same. And they're not. They have their own personalities. And so I had to think about what I did with Spencer, particularly, and also Baz, that I could teach Finn and Val to do some of those things as well. So for them, I purposefully trained them. I mean, I tried things, did things, tried things out until I got the kind of behavior that I actually wanted. And you can do this with your cats as well. Even if they're very shy, timid, that's kind of how Finn and Val are. They don't really like other people. They like cats. They like what they're familiar with. And so when training them, and I'm still working on it, there's various things I started when they were fairly young. Not as young kittens, but 9 months or so, when they had a bit more of a longer attention span. And then I've continued to work with them. And the things that I can recommend is to take small steps and reward your cat. So whatever it does, whether it's, you hold out your little finger and you get your cat to touch its nose to your finger. And trust me, most cats will do that. It's just kind of a natural thing. And keep trying it and keep working at it, and don't give up. If you really want your cat to be, an adventure cat, to go on walks, to go to shops, to travel with you, you just keep trying, because all cats are going to be a little bit spooked by things they don't know. Cats really do seem to like familiar things, except for some cats, like Spencer who was completely curious. If it was odd, unusual, different, he was right there and in it. So like when I would have repair people come to the house, like somebody, mostly it was with the internet, and they bring a big bag full of tools. Spencer was in the bag. He had his nose right up there wherever they were working. He was actually kind of a nuisance. It was hard to keep him away. And it was also hard to keep him in another room, to keep him from doing those kinds of things. He really wanted to be wherever the action was. And like I said, my 2 new cats are not like that at all. And so I'm sure that if you have cats like that, you might be a little bit concerned about what is it going to take to get them more acclimated to strange things or different things, or walking on a leash, or going out and going to the store and actually enjoying it. Because ultimately they will enjoy all of that activity, particularly if you have a fairly active cat. Even if your cat's not that active, they will enjoy getting out a little bit. It's a controlled thing to get out. You're not gonna, your house cat on a leash isn't gonna go out and kill birds. It's just not gonna happen. They're not going to be able to catch them, typically. I let my cats on the leash go chase lizards. He's never going to catch a lizard. Not in a million years. Those lizards move way too fast for my little cat. But one of the things, whatever you have them do, and it could be, you just have to pick something. And like I said, one of the very first things is the nose to the little finger. And it's a start. And then you get them to do other things, like come to their name. My cats do come, which I've heard from other cat owners is a really difficult thing to get your cat to do. But it's something that was really important to me to get my cats to do, because they were a little bit more spooked. And it's something that they want to do. They want to come to me. I'm their safe person, their safe spot. And so they do come and will tend to run towards me, or when I'm out front in the yard, they run directly to the front door when they're really spooked. So they do know their safe areas, and it's really important that you teach a cat like a safe spot or a safe hold or something, so that when they do get spooked, and almost all cats will, there'll be something that happens when you're out, that you have trained them where it's safe to go. So one of the things that you want to watch out for that I see a lot of complaints about, particularly if you're out walking, out like on a trail or in a park, is there's an awful lot of off-leash dogs. They're not supposed to be off leash, but people don't pay any attention to the rules. And suddenly you can have a dog racing up to your cat, and your cat's going to be spooked. And your cat might go up a tree, or God knows what they might do. They will, my cats would freak out if there was a dog rushing at them. And I have a dog, and they're used to the dog, and they're used to dogs. Like my cat Val is a lot less spooked of dogs than he is of the people walking them. It's rather unusual that way. But it's all those things that, like I said, at any age, you just have to keep exposing your cat to these new situations, see how the cat reacts, and make sure that, that they know that it's safe. So one of the things that's helped me a lot with to reduce the cat's stress when outside is when something shows up that I know typically bothers the cat. I will get down near the cat and pet him, like particularly Val. I'll pet him until the dog and the person walk past, or the people and their little children walk by. And he will stay put, and he stays calm, and everything's good, and then we're back to whatever we were doing before. So, when training your cat at any age, you want to provide lots of opportunities for your cat to do things that you want them to do. So things like, you don't want your cat to scratch the furniture, and so you can train them to scratch where you want them to scratch. And catnip and various scratchers are really good for that. Provide opportunities, walks, expose your cat, like I've said, various outings. The pet store is one of the safest, most likely, and particularly when it's not busy, like when it first opens. Sometimes on weekends, Sunday mornings are a good time to take your cat to the pet store, and of course put them in a basket. Unless your cat insists on walking around. So when your cat gets really used to walking on a leash and going places, the cat will just walk on the floor. It won't be a problem. My recommendations for training your cat at any age: remember repetition, pretty much, and a lot of patience, and try your cat with new things and see what happens. A lot of it is just an experiment. And and before you experiment with various situations, be sure to train your cat where where it's safe. And that could be a bag, it could be in your arms, it could be anywhere, but as long as your cat knows that there is a safe spot, and then your cat will constantly return to you that way. Again, I'm Kathy with Your Perfect Cat, and thank you for listening. And please make comments. Tell me how your training has gone, what you've done, what's worked. I would love to hear from you, to know what's worked for you, and see how different it is from what's worked for me, and see if we can learn a few new things as well. So whatever your experience might be will help other people, and it can help me, and it's things that I can try out with my cats and see how it works out for them. And again, thank you for listening. Please subscribe and comment below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.